Thank you so much, Joan. Thank you, Nectaria, for having this amazing event. Before I speak about demography, I want to make one announcement on sustainability. We in World Data Lab actually bring data alive. Data alive for all of you, for the policymakers, but also for everybody citizen. And there's one surprise maybe that you have. There's 3 countries in the world that are rich and clean. Rich and clean. Rich, high income, and clean means low emissions. One of those countries is on the panel here. Congratulations, Mr. Abella. Malta is one of the 3 countries in the world that are actually rich and clean. Malta, Romania, interestingly, and Chile are those countries. And that's hopefully an insight for you as well, and that you can bring back to Malta. And be interesting, I think other countries should follow your example and learn how you can become rich, because you want to be rich and clean. Greece is getting there. I think Bulgaria has a few other steps to take, but it's possible. It's not impossible to be both. The amazing thing about this event is, I think we're creating headlines for demography. Typically, headlines are about war and sports. If we're lucky, it's sports. Otherwise, it's war. So I think it's exciting to think of demographic headlines. And there's some of them. 2 you know, and a third one, I need your help to get there. So the first big one, and we have one of the world's leading demographers in the room, actually, Wolfgang Lutz, who speaks in the afternoon, whose team actually made these projections, among others, with the UN. So many of you remember, actually, early 2023 or late 22, we are the world at 8 billion now. The second big headline, I hope you remember, half a year ago, what happened? China is not anymore the largest country in the world. It's India, and the gap is widening. These 2 countries have sharply different trajectories, and a country like Greece that has obviously close relations to China, especially through the port not far from here, I think it's an important perspective. China will still be the economically stronger. China will still have double the size of the consumer class, something we measure quite closely, but India is the rising power, and this chart is it. So a question to you, don't be shy. Who is above age 50? Okay, above age 50. Okay, either you are too shy or you are a very young crowd here. Greece has 5 million people age 50 out of 11 million. So Greece is older than the rest of the world. I'm above 50. I will celebrate my 53rd birthday tomorrow here in Athens, the first time ever. Thank you. Globally, the world is younger, as we know. But we had a tipping point, and I hope the journalists here make it at least a headline for tomorrow. The first time ever, we have more of us, age 50 plus, than children. And the number is very easy to remember, because it's 2 billion. 2 billion of us, age 50 plus, 2 million children, some of you at your homes, and then the rest of those who didn't raise their hands, you are still the majority. You are 4 billion. So 2 billion, 4 billion, 2 billion. That's the simplest segmentation of the world. But the short summary of my presentation is, if you think of a simple solution to the demographic, I call it challenge, not emergency now, is us, age 50 plus. If you keep us at work, you solve all your challenges. So that's actually quite simple solution. There's other solutions I come to. But it's all about us now. Sorry to say to the younger ones, 50 plus, that's what will make or shape the future of Greece and Bulgaria, of Malta and beyond. Good, here are the big numbers again. Some of them you heard very eloquently yesterday, and you heard more. Those of us, all of us, I think were here 25 years ago at the turn of the century. We were roughly 6 billion people, and only 1.1 billion of us, so to say, of the older ones. So that was a classic world, 5 to 1 billion. Now we are 6 to 2 billion. So both groups were growing, the younger ones and us, but still, you see us, we are growing a lot, the 50 plus. What will happen the next 25 years? What will happen? Think about it. What will happen? You guys, you young ones, will not grow much. We still need you because you'll be the dominant group, 6 billion. You'll stay basically there. So it's actually quite an interesting insight to think population growth today is not because of children, it's because of adults. That's a nice term from Hans Rosling, another Swedish brilliant fellow. But it's not even about adults, it's about 50 plus. All the population growth basically in the future is because of 50 plus people. So we better nurture the 50 pluses, otherwise we have other challenges. So all the growth except the 100 million, 100 to 200 million till 2050 are older people. And if you do 60 plus, also quite striking, but the 50 to 60 range, some of us are in there, are quite interesting. So yeah, we were last 2 decades, our cohort, or the younger cohort was still growing a bit globally, but now it's flat and it's all about 50 plus. Greece is no exception. I think you know these numbers. You just saw the age pyramid. There's a different way to think about it. What's interesting, for Greece is not necessarily the declining number of children, but it's actually the declining number of what's traditionally, and I would say wrongly, defined as working age. So that's this green line that you should think about. How can you change this green line? Europe has a challenge. Greece has a bigger challenge. So Europe, I'm originally from Germany, living in Austria. We will have the number, I use 2040 because that's a medium-term perspective, 9% decline of children in Europe, 11% in Greece. 11% decline in working age, 13% in Greece. And the seniors above 75, they're growing most. So again, you nurture the 50 plus, nurture the 65 plus. That needs to be the core essence of the policies, of the ministry's policies. So what are the solutions to address the demographic emergency? First, don't think of an emergency, right? Greece has gone through tough times the last 10 years. You know, what you're now, I think it hasn't been announced in this event, Nectaria, hasn't been announced, and Johan, Greece is the country of the year of the Economist. I think that, so Greece has achieved a lot. This one you can handle too. It's obviously, as just been said, much more gradual. It needs structural, deep reforms. But you know, what you managed the last 10 years, you'll manage this as well. So it's not an emergency, it can be managed. We managed a lot. There's two very simple solutions to this challenge, but they're politically not as attractive. And the minister in the morning, the health minister, spoke to this as well, yesterday as well. Yeah, let me just talk about the two simple solutions. One simple solution is immigration, more immigrants, more skilled labor. Minister today talked about it. And the second opportunity is about right time and age, and I'll come to this in a second. So here are the core numbers. Greece has 11 million people now. Greece will have 11 million people in 2030, and guess what? Greece will roughly have 1 million people in 2040. So the total population is not the demographic challenge. It's the working age population. But I want to have you look at the lowest line, actually how much of those who are working age are actually working and contributing to the tax base in your country. And there in our projection, we use these projections on the lower line, is Greece will roughly lose or miss 500,000 people, 492. If things stay the way they are, Greece would lose 492,000 people till 2040. That's actually 29,000 per year. There's obviously other aspects. You have maybe more seniors. You need to care for them. Ideally, the number should be higher than 29,000 per year. But let's use that number, 29,000, 30,000. So for all the Greece policymakers, the challenge is, how do you find these 30,000 people per year? That's the challenge, 30,000. It's actually less the next 7 years, and it's more the future. As I just said, these are the two big, simple solutions. Find more immigrants, and they don't have to be refugees, right? Spain, Valencia, is the powerhouse of digital nomads. I know some friends who just relocated to Valencia because it's actually much nicer and sunnier there, and they then add taxes. They bought some property there, contributing to the Spanish economy. Greece is as beautiful, I know, from my childhood already. I've been 40 years in this country, coming all the time. It can have digital migrants, or you increase the retirement age, which is absolutely fine. Many in this room are above 65 and work happily. Let people work as long as they like. These are the two simple solutions. There's other solutions, though, less politically contentious. And what I did with my team, just give you some simple illustrations of how can you fill this gap of 29,000 people. Ideally, you go higher, as I said, but what are the measures? One measure is full education for everybody, emphasis on education. Greece is actually quite strong in education. 90% of boys and girls have more than lower secondary education. And I know because we hired one of the best tech experts in this country. He's in this room, Kostas. He's running our tech machinery. He will actually relocate to Vienna, but he will still come back to Greece and make the country benefit. That gives actually quite a big number, surprisingly, 8,500, because people of higher education are likely to employed longer for the whole life. That would give roughly more than 8,000. The second is female participation, especially in rural areas. It's low in Greece. Now, I use Spain as a reference and not Sweden, which we have here represented, or Holland, because you don't have to match the best. Just match another Mediterranean country. That gives you another 8,000 people that could be in the workforce if female labor force participation would be the same. By year, by the way. It's the numbers per year. The third is Many younger Greece, partly legacy of the crisis, don't work in the younger ages. That gives you another. If you have a European average there, gives you another 7,500. And then the last one is to think of the seniors, the big message of this talk, 50 plus, my generation. Spain is not great, but it's fine. Spain is okay with the 50 plus. If you just match Spain's number of labor participation, you're at 30, you match the 29K number. That's without immigration, that's without changing the retirement age. So just find a way to find these, not big number, 30,000 people, and there's no more emergency. And let people work longer. I want to work till 80. I want to celebrate many more birthdays here. I don't want to stop. So let people work longer, and then you have a much bigger and I think more healthy political debate as well. Thank you very much.